Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is DVD Collector 1986 here with another video for today. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. This isn't really movie related per se, but I thought it was a relevant and important topic to discuss in a video. And that's if you're a movie enthusiast like me and you want the best picture quality that you can get on a movie, and you want your TV to have really good picture, and you want, when you watch movies, you want the movie to look as good as it can look on your TV, you have to adjust the picture settings on your TV. Now, some factors to take into consideration. First of all, before you start calibrating any of the settings on your TV, first, you have to figure out, okay, what is my environment? What room am I watching movies in? And by that, I mean, where am I sitting in the room in relation to where the TV is? How far away from the TV am I sitting? Am I going to be watching the TV with the lights on, the lights off? How much ambient light is in the room? Basically figure out your viewing environment first. Me personally, sometimes I watch movies in rooms where it's dark, where it's just the TV. That works great if you have a plasma TV. Plasmas look amazing in dark rooms, but they don't make plasma TVs anymore. They stopped making them in 2018, I believe. 2018 or 29. I think they stopped making them in 2018. Anyway, so this video is specifically for anyone who has an LCD or LED TV. That stands for liquid crystal display. That's LCD, or a light emitting diode TV, which is LED. So, the first thing I'm going to say is this: once you've figured out whether you're going to have the lights on or off, I'll say this: these LCDs and LEDs look better when the lights are on. Once you've adjusted the picture, if you then go after that and go turn the lights off, the backlight, and that's the light that's built into the panel. It's called a backlight because you have the picture, and then there's a light, an array of light bulbs in the panel behind the screen. And that backlight will wash out everything on the screen, because once you turn those lights off and the room goes dark, the only light in the room is the light coming from the panel, from the backlight on the TV. So you'll be able to see the backlight much more in a dark room than you will with the lights on. So my recommendation is, if it doesn't bother you, go ahead and keep your lights on. Even at night when you're watching a movie, keep your lights on, because it'll help the TV to have a better picture. And this is strictly for non-plasma TVs, because some people have plasmas, but a lot of people don't. So anyway, let's get into this. When you first get a TV from Best Buy or Walmart, wherever you buy your TV from, and you get it home, you plug it in, you set it up, and you get in front of it, let's be honest, most people, they just use any one of the preset picture modes that the TV comes with, and they don't do any adjusting at all. There's usually a mode called Vivid, which is too bright, the colors are too oversaturated, and the picture is too sharp, and the backlight is set too high. That's Vivid. And then they have Standard, and then they have usually Movie or Cinema mode, and then they usually have a Sports mode, and sometimes they have an Energy Saver mode. There's different ones depending on the brand of your TV and all this other stuff. So my point is this: forget the preset picture modes. All these TVs, when they come from the factory, are set to what I call torch mode, which means if you go actually take the time to go look into the picture settings on your TV, you'll see that the backlight is set all the way to 100%, which is as high as it'll go. Your contrast, which is the intensity of difference between the darkest part of the screen and the lightest part of the screen, and it also affects your white level. Your contrast is usually going to be set to 100, which is maxed out. Your not your backlight, your brightness, which also affects technically that's your black level, and it affects your whites as well on the TV. It will be set to like 50 or 60. That's still too high. It goes all the way to 100, but even 50 or 60 is too high. Sharpness is usually set too high. It makes the edges on everything look too jagged, too well defined. So the picture looks too sharp. My point is this: everything on your preset TV settings is set too high. You want to get the best picture out of your LCD or LED TV? Take my advice. Start with the picture mode. Before you make any adjustments, choose cinema or movie mode. Some of them call it cinema mode, and some manufacturers call it movie mode. Select that mode first. Then once you've done that, go to your brightness, if you have a backlight setting, and your jaw's gonna hit the floor, but I'm gonna tell you, if you have a backlight setting on, and make note of this, backlight and brightness are two different settings. So go to your backlight if you have a backlight setting on your panel, and on that, it's probably going to be set to 100. Knock that setting down to 30%. That's right, 30%. Then after that, go to your brightness setting. And on your brightness setting, adjust the brightness to 45. Not 50, not 60, not 70, or anything else. Set it to 45. Now go to contrast. Now on your contrast, the easiest way to describe contrast is you want the white areas of your screen to be as white and bright as they possibly can, but you don't want them so bright that you can't pick up textures and details on like a white t-shirt. Like, for example, that's why I'm wearing a white t-shirt. Okay, if the contrast, if I was on a TV screen and the contrast was set properly, my shirt would look really white, but you could still see the wrinkles well defined in my shirt. But if you have your contrast set all the way to 100, maxed out all the way, the picture will be so bright that you won't even be able to see the wrinkles in the shirt. Everything will look white. That's when you know your contrast is too high. So it's called white clipping, where you lose detail in the texture and of the image because it's so bright that you can't see the details, like the wrinkles in the shirt, or like if someone has a shirt pocket, stitching lines, etc. So, long story short, don't have your contrast set to 100. Set it to 80. 80. And this way it'll be bright enough to where it'll look really, really white, but you'll still be able to pick up fine details, like the wrinkles in my shirt, etc. And then the next setting would be color. Set color to somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 or 50. There's room for play with that setting because at 45 it looks pretty good, but I wouldn't go any higher than 50. It depends on your eyesight. If you're watching a movie, if the image doesn't look colorful enough, and by colorful I mean not oversaturated, I don't mean that the colors are bleeding. I mean it's colorful, but it's colorful in a way that the color representation on your TV is accurate and looks realistic. That may vary from one TV to the next, but don't go any lower than 45 on the color setting. But at the same time, if 45 still isn't enough color, don't go any higher than 50. So anywhere between 45 and 50 for your color setting. Then go to your sharpness. Sharpness, as it says, it determines how sharp your image is. The edges on stuff that appear on screen, how sharp those edges are determined by your sharpness. Generally, sharpness from the factory will be set to 50, which is too high. I'd say at the very lowest, keep your sharpness at 10. And again, this is on a scale from 0 to 100, by the way. So some TVs don't go all the way to 100. On all their settings, some TVs have a scale of 0 to 50. So if you have a TV that's from 0 to 50, if I say put the on a TV with a scale of 0 to 100, if I say put the setting to 10 for sharpness, then if your sharpness on your TV only goes to 50, then put it to 5, not 10. So half of that. You get what I'm saying. So anyway, the sharpness should be around 10. But if you prefer a TV with a sharper image than that, you can go all the way to 25, but don't go any higher than 25. And then color temperature. Usually there's a color temperature setting somewhere in your picture settings menu. Usually it's cool, standard, warm 1, and warm 2, and then sometimes there's a vivid one. Set it to warm 1 or warm 2, and you'll just have to figure out, set it to one and set it to the other and see which one looks better to you, and whatever one looks better to you, use that one. So warm 1 or warm 2. So anyway, you're going to notice that once you've done these settings, that your TV is going to look darker. You'll still be able to see everything, but your TV will look darker. And that's because the color black on the screen of your TV is supposed to look black. If you have your contrast, your backlight, and your brightness level set too high, the color black on your TV will not look black. It'll look like a dark navy blue with a bluish color, a deep dark bluish color to it. Or at the very worst, it'll look like a washed out milky gray. Black on your TV is supposed to be black, like deep black. So when you're adjusting the brightness level on your TV, if you don't have, they call it the THX optimizer, which if you get Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the Skynet edition Blu-ray release, it has a THX optimizer tool on that disc that you can use to calibrate your TV. But if you don't have access to a THX optimizer tool, you can kind of eyeball the TV. Just do it by eyesight. And I'm telling you, the easiest way to determine if your brightness or your black level is dark like it's supposed to be, is put in a movie that's widescreen, you know, where there's the black bar at the top and at the bottom of your screen. You know what I'm talking about. And put in a movie that has that. And then once you see those black bars, start adjusting your brightness until the black bars at the top and bottom of your screen actually look black. When they start looking, as soon as they start looking deep black, you don't want to go too far down on the brightness because it'll make everything dark. But you want your brightness set at just the right level where the bars actually start to look black. So, but like I said, you don't want the setting too low to where it makes everything dark. You just want your blacks to be nice and inky and to look good. And you want your contrast level to look really white and bright, but not so bright that you can't make out fine wrinkles and details on like white t-shirts and stuff like that, or like details on like cloud patterns in the sky. If you can use these settings, if you can get them adjusted right, your TV will look so much better. So real quick, I'm just going to say as a recap, you want your backlight. If you have some TVs don't have a backlight. If you have a backlight setting, make sure that the backlight is set to 30. Make sure your brightness is set to 45. You could even go as low as 40 if you want, but I stick with 45 for brightness. Then for contrast, you want 80. And then for sharpness, anywhere from 10 to 25, depending on how sharp you want your picture to look, but don't go any higher than 25. And then color, you want color to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 or 50. And let me see. I think that's about it. Anyway, I will post a list of picture settings in the description, so you can just get those off of there too. And I guarantee you, after you've made these adjustments, pop in a movie that you like, watch it, and tell me that it doesn't look better now. And if it does, now you'll see how it's supposed to look, and you'll notice it'll look better than it did on the TV before you calibrated it, when you were using just the factory presets. So anyway, I'm sorry I went on about this for a while, but picture calibration is very important. Anytime you get a new TV, you have to calibrate it. It's not rocket science. It's not really complicated, but my point is you have to calibrate it to get the TV to look as good as it can and to get movies to look like the director intended for them to look. You have to adjust your picture settings. Don't just use all the default settings in the preset picture modes that come with your TV, because they're all set too high anyway. So anyway, I hope this video helped somebody. And like I said, the calibration settings, I will list them in the description below. And thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time. Thanks.